welcome to the second day of the Forum Without Barriers on Accessible Cinema at the Culture Center ZAMEK. My name is Joanna, and I usually invite different guests who relay the best practices in accessibility to us. And one such solution is accessible film education, which will be the topic of our first panel before noon. We have 3 presentations for you. Following these presentations will be a Q&A session with questions fielded in Polish and English. Any questions from the audience, feel free to ask them. And on my part, I don't think there's anything but inviting the first speaker and yielding the floor to him. He will be Gustaw Bronk, and Marta Jaroń will be the interpreter for the Polish Sign Language. Thank you very much. Good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to be here with you. I'm a bit stressed, but my name is Gustaw Bronk. I'm 15. I'm a native of Gdańsk. It's a beautiful city in the north of Poland at the seaside, splendid beaches and many landmark monuments. This is my first time in Poznań, and I'm jealous of your famous croissants. It's quite a city itself, but I can't live here because I'm not frugal, as you guys are known to be in Poznań. I am a deaf person. I use Polish Sign Language. I'm also an activist for the hard of hearing and deaf, and I want to build bridges between the deaf and those who hear. And why is cinematographic and cinematic accessibility so important? And why is film education so important? I want to show you my perspective on this topic as a deaf person. Imagine you're at a cinema, it's getting dark, the lights fade out, and the first scene plays out on screen. There is a conversation, everybody around you are laughing or going through a highly emotionally charged scene. Everybody's reacting vividly to what's on screen. And imagine that they're together in it. And all of a sudden you are the odd one out. You're all by your lonesome. You don't understand the word because you can hear it. You can see them move their lips. You can see that there's motion on screen, that somebody is enraged, in love, or emotional. These are the experiences of a deaf person when looking at a cinema screen. It's as if you were watching a film in a foreign language of which you cannot understand the word. It's quite a frustrating and stressful experience, isn't it? We don't understand it because it escapes us. It's not important normally. We take it for granted. And in film education, we need to transcend that state of affairs. We need to cater to the deaf by providing subtitles and SD tracks to describe and to convey the music, the tension, the sounds that build up the emotions for the viewer. I want to understand what takes place in terms of the soundscape. I want to know why a given effect was used, even if I can hear, even if I cannot hear it. Let's say there's a dark scene playing out on screen, and somebody whispers, "I don't know what's going on, but I want to see it. I want to read the subtitles in order to understand it." The subtitles should be legible and they should be easy to understand. Our native language is not Polish, the written Polish, but Polish Sign Language. So what we need is ETR, easy to read subtitles. They need to be displayed clearly on the screen, and we need them to be colorful. A friend of mine said that he was watching a film, and on the screen, on one stage, there was a man and a young child, a girl, and there was no accurate description that would render the conversation in terms of who was speaking at the time. And we use colors in order to let the deaf and hard of hearing understand that, okay, the girl is speaking in yellow and the man in blue. And so they can follow the conversation easily thanks to that solution. On another note, those who don't have hearing disabilities find it easy to follow what's going on screen with subtitles, even if they don't understand the original language in the film. What we need is not only an ATR, but also a sign interpreter, preferably on screen, who would convey not only the words but also the emotions, the ambience of the scene, and the tension between characters, the dramaturgy, the rhythm and the tempo of what's playing out on a screen at a given moment. Otherwise, you won't be able to follow it. So accessibility should be tailored to our needs, both in cinemas, in movie theaters, at film festivals, film workshops, film meetings. Because film education is not only about watching films, but also, if not more importantly, about exchanging our experiences, our comments, our observations on those. Film is also about education. In schools, you often use films. Teachers avail themselves of movies when they teach history, social sciences, Polish literature, and other subjects. And unfortunately, deaf students do not always find it easy to keep up with what's on screen if the screen is not, if the film is not accessible. Without accessibility, it's hard to imagine for the deaf to become directors or actors, which is my dream, to be one. And I am lucky enough to attend a school with 2 sign language interpreters available who accompany me throughout the day during all classes and events. And the teachers are well attuned to my needs. They know what I need, and even though it's still primary school only, as an elementary school, that accessibility is very thorough indeed. They know what I need inside out. And this is not a default state of affairs. Unfortunately, not all deaf students receive that support, much like not all deaf moviegoers are exposed to films with SDH that are also supplied with ETR and with a sign interpreter. Accessibility should be embedded, should be inscribed in what we understand as cinematography and the whole cinematographic experience to make it available for everybody. If we have to second guess if we understood a given scene correctly, because it had no subtitles, it's hard on us, and I don't want to keep guessing. I want to be in it with the other members of the audience. If I'm part of that community, I can be with them in laughing, crying, getting a jump scare here or there, bursting out laughing, and so on. What I'd like is for accessibility to be pre-planned, so that if we include it as part of the project, we will also know that accessibility will be part and parcel of that project. And true accessibility is about understanding, a proper understanding of history, which teaches us a lot, and also a proper understanding of emotions and how to understand them, how to convey them. Students and children, all humans basically, should not be extended this courtesy as a sort of a special right, but as something that is inherently due to them, in order to be understood themselves. If you don't feel understood, you feel excluded. And I'd much prefer for us to operate at an even playing field. And rather than guess what's happening on screen, I'd rather stand on a par with you and enjoy the experience and be there for the whole ride. Because the world is a joyful ride. It's a joyride insofar as accessibility is provided to everybody. And in other countries, there are many deaf actors, for example, in the US. There's a woman who was even an Oscar winner. She's a deaf actress. And we have similar actresses and actors in Sweden, Ireland, Great Britain. Not so much in Poland, not yet, but I'd love for the interest to be sparked in this department, for us to catch up and keep up. Thank you. That's it, I guess.
Bardzo dziękujemy.
Thank you for sharing. And now we're going to have our next speakers who are going to talk about accessible film education in school practice, how blind children become conscious watchers, conscious spectators of movies. And we're going to have two ladies, Anya and Magdalena, from the Special School and Educational Center for Blind Children in Owińska. Hi, I'm Magdalena Elegańczyk, and as I was saying, together with Anya Bloch, we represent a special school and educational center for blind children in Owińska. We work with kids who are blind or nearly blind, but also kids with developmental issues. The accessibility we fight for in our center among blind children is what it is. We feel that our students want to be part of all educational projects, and we do everything we can to facilitate this for them. We will start our intervention by answering the question why school is an important partner of movie theaters. First of all, a school for blind children is especially important because it is here that kids learn, but most importantly, they learn how to become independent, how to be autonomous, and they also learn how to navigate everyday lives. They also take part in culture events. The school is often the one and only place where kids learn how to access the film industry, and it's also a guarantor of accessibility. The role of the movie theater is to create a safe physical and mental space. Here, kids learn how to be open, and the cinema helps kids with disabilities to become valid members of cultural life. I believe the roles of these two institutions overlap. We can't imagine film education without participation in accessible movie screenings. Likewise, there is no accessible cinema without the participation of young people and the kids. We have collaborated for a long, long time with many culture institutions. Let me inspire you by a story about our collaboration with this very institution, the Culture Center, the ZAMEK Culture Center. We have been part and parcel of the Cinema Without Barriers project. We incorporate all kinds of students in accessible movie screenings. What's important for us, an added value of this collaboration, is that screenings taking place here are an important part of school life, of our school life, and our kids, our students are eager to participate. Let me stress also that we can be open to each other's needs, and we can exchange ideas. So let me give you a practical example. A year ago, we went to a screening with a very diverse group of kids with different disabilities. Not only blind kids, we can leave school for different reasons at 8 a.m. only. We were here on time before 9 o'clock, but it took a while to sort out the logistics after we landed here at the Culture Center. Then I asked the management of the center whether next time we could postpone the screening, the kickoff of the screening till 9:30, and they were very accommodating. So actually, this goes to prove that if we exchange ideas, if we are open to one another, we can really reap the best results. Now, what's important for us is that we can pre-select movies for audio description. It's important not only because of the topic of the movie or the genre, but we need to somehow accommodate the movies we want the kids to see, to watch, to the school curriculum. And now, let me add one more thing. Here in this slide, you see some of the snapshots of the events we have taken part in over the past 3 years. Okay, so we also have AD devices. Okay, now I would like to say a few words about movie goers in film education. This is by no means a homogeneous group, but we need to accommodate sensory perception other than sight. Because spectators receive the movie or perceive the movie not only through the sense of sight, but also in a tactile manner. And I believe it's important to understand that it is us, the seeing people, who can somehow determine whether blind kids would like to watch a movie as an educational aid, as a teaching aid, as an entertainment element. We know that the blind is usually is one person, but it's a pretty diverse group of people. I'd like to tell you that we are talking blind people here, blind with congenital blindness. they do not have eidetic memory, they don't have visual memory, they don't understand the visual concepts. For us, the seeing persons, the tension and emotions are built through color, through a close-up, through zooming in, through the perspective the camera adopts, and it all is to provoke a certain reaction, a certain perception. And that's why the blind person who's never been able to see is rid of such ways to perceive the movie, and we need to help them out so that they can understand the movie better. Now, we also talk about people who lost eyesight after the age of 5. Again, we can say that this is a group of persons who may not have visual memory, but they do have a certain recognition of color, and they can appreciate the movie through the remnants of their memory. Again, here we need to make the image very tangible. Another group is the group of people, of partially blind people who see very little. Others may see a little bit more. And again, if we run classes, we need to profile our classes to prepare them in a way to accommodate all these groups. Sometimes we cannot offer too many stimuli, not to overstimulate the viewers. Our experience prompts us that our students often face a complete loss of eyesight. So we need to be forthcoming. We need to be sensitive. We need to be very careful in choosing and selecting the movie to be seen, because these are very emotional things, and we need to do everything in our power to make the screenings comfortable in every possible sense. Another group of people are blind or partially blind students with intellectual disabilities. And again, we need to adjust our classes to this group. Often these kids might have problems concentrating. Again, we cannot overstimulate them with too many stimuli. We need to use very simple language. We use a language which is easy to read and listen to and understand. We often, prior to the screening, we explain what the movie is all about so that the kids can appreciate it better. Now we are going to move on to the role of the teacher and their role as the first film educator of the blind kid. Actually, teachers are guides in most seeing people appreciate a movie through the sense of sight. Now we need to introduce the movie to blind kids in a different way through other senses. This task is very demanding. It calls on the ability to integrate different sensory stimuli. The teacher's role is to enrich classes by discussing movies that are book productions, that are also the curriculum for the Polish language in schools demands that teachers teach their kids how to interpret texts, literary texts, in a variety of ways, also via their film versions. What's pretty important, and that's why we have highlighted this, or actually underlined this line here on the slide. We teach autonomy. We know that each and every time kids operate outside of the school context and can navigate everything outside of the school context, including going to the toilet or going to the cloakroom, is important for the kids. Now, autonomy is important in that once you become autonomous, once you can navigate your life outside of the school context, helps you, empowers these kids and shows to them that they can actually do a lot. This has its therapeutic value. The teacher's role is to show a given work of art, be it literature or the fine arts, through a variety of senses. And when we teach interpretation, we encourage reflection. The teacher is also responsible for offering the first contact with the movie to the kid. We can introduce a number of concepts that will be addressed during the movie. When we talk about safe, the safe cinema is that in school during a lesson we can pause, we can hit the pause button, we can explain things more thoroughly, and then tell the kids that, okay, now we can go to the movies because you know what to expect there. Let us say a few words about our own experience in work with films in school. Can all films be made accessible to students? Our experience again prompts us that it is not so, even though, say, if we have a lot of dialogue, if we don't have too many protagonists, if we have a lot of causal links in the movie, these movies are easier to watch for our students. AD can be enough for the blind to understand, to capture what the movie is all about. However, there are movies that involve a lot of protagonists where these are action movies, and our students want to know a lot about the protagonists, and they stick to the individual lines spoken by the characters. So, if there are too many protagonists in a movie, kids might find it harder to follow the movie. Again, there is another group of movies where we say that they cannot be made accessible to blind spectators. They rely on image mainly, and we cannot really have a meaningful lesson based on such movies. Let me give you an example. There was a very short movie about, without dialogue, about a little bird. I work with kids with intellectual disabilities, and we kicked off from this movie. But films without dialogue are definitely harder to integrate into our lessons. Films do play a major role in the education of the blind kid. As I was saying earlier, audio description is based on words. It's a basic tool. However, it by no means is the only tool in our box. We need to think about how to prepare teaching aids which will be tactile. Let us segue to what helps us prepare for the classes. We need to understand what the needs of our students are. We can use a lot of internet resources. And in the next slide, we're going to show to you some teaching aids. We have actually prepared ourselves with our students. Here we see tactile teaching aids in higher schools, higher grades of primary school. We see a lot of different puzzles. We have words in Braille alphabet. We have a number of concepts from specific movies. We have props which can be very helpful in educating blind students about movies. We have 3D pens or small diamonds. All of these teaching aids were made by us, but this is beside the point. This shows to you that we can use everyday materials. It might take a while to prepare classes for blind kids, but the thing is that, well, once you have an idea, once you hit on something, you can follow it. Now, I work in a boarding school at our center. I work with kids with intellectual disabilities, and my line of work is a bit different because I rely on tactile experience, on sound, and here we had a Paddington story. Kids received drawings which they can color in. They received also orange marmalade, which is Paddington's favorite food, staple food, and so the kids could also sample the marmalade. And they could dress the bear in its characteristic coat. I know our time is up. We also had this prop of a birdie. We speak a lot about textures when we speak about emotions. When we have some soft texture, it can relate to some positive experience. Rough textures, rough surfaces can relate to something negative. To sum up, we have gathered here some best practices based on our experience. Accessibility starts from building a relationship. And again, I refer to our collaboration. If you want to, as representatives of culture institutions, it's best to contact the school principal, who will then forward you to a specific teacher, because sending an email to the general email address of the school may not be too helpful. We are rewarded by what we do. We all live in our bubbles. We have our school bubble. Each school trip is very inspiring, very important, not only for the kids, but also for us. You need to be mindful. You need to be watchful to the needs of others. And I do not want to go on, but it's of really great importance to work a lot before we take the kids to the screening in a movie theater. We need to prepare the kids for the more difficult emotions, and again, we need to be thinking about covering a lot of ground in terms of different sensory stimulation, right? We cannot rely on eyesight. We need to rely on the other senses. Thank you so much. Sorry for the 2 minutes. We exceeded our intervention. Thank you.
2 minuty to jest prawie nic.
2 minutes is next to nothing. I'll try to cut to the chase and be short and sweet, giving the floor to our last speaker in this panel. Following his presentation, we will have a short Q&A and give the floor to Mateusz Mirocha of the FilmON Festival, who will speak on film as a tool for therapy and integration. Good morning. It is my great honor to represent the FilmON Festival on behalf of Elegańczyk, the main organizer. I also represent the Foundation for Education and Art, which has been co-organizing the festival for the past 3 years and counting. FilmON is a nationwide film festival addressed to persons with intellectual disabilities, featuring a competition and persons participating in occupational therapy, carers of different foundations and centers who, with their caretakers and caregivers, create various animated films, fictional and documentary. Year in and year out, we have more and more submissions. Last year's edition featured over 50. So we have to start by making a selection to see which make the cut, because our capability is limited to only a dozen or so productions that are shortlisted for the main presentations. With our selection, we put great emphasis on the utmost participation of persons with disabilities as contributors to these films. Only then do we cater to the storyline and artistic value. So it's not only about having persons with disabilities featured in these productions, but also actively engaged as artistic contributors. The festival is not only about the competition, though. It is supported by a number of accompanying events and initiatives. Over a decade ago, when we started, there was a host of challenges for persons with disabilities in music and theater, and a number of initiatives addressing those, but there were no such activities for cinematography. At the same time, in our daily practice, we saw clearly that movie making, filmmaking has great therapeutical value, and hence the School for Children with Special Needs number 6 in Krakow launched a course for storytelling, for expressing emotions and building a vehicle for conveying your emotions as a person with disability in culture. That course integrated different occupational and integrational therapy tools, and every year the festival keeps setting new records and attracting new entries. The festival started locally, originally as a Krakow-based initiative. Then it grew to become a regional event and now a nationwide one. And so, how does this pan out in practice? During the festival, we use two modes of therapy. The first is active film therapy, so creating your own films by individuals with intellectual disabilities, and the other is classical film therapy, which is movie-going experience combined with discussions. And this classical film therapy works well with both the artists, filmmakers, who can watch their own films on a large screen, so those persons with disabilities who create their films, as well as the festival audience, individuals who are often not embedded in the community of persons with disabilities. It also attracts many students of different schools for students without disabilities. And when it comes to active film therapy, so the filmmaking process, what stands out are several intrinsic components, starting with expression, so the ability to convey your own emotions, to communicate with others, to narrate your needs and your feelings. The other component is collaboration, because filmmaking involves a big film crew, a delegation of many tasks, from acting, camera operation, sound, engineering, costume design, stage design, set design, and so on. So there's a number of elements that can involve active participation from persons with disabilities, which is all the more important because you can distribute and delegate these tasks accordingly to an individual's capacities. And it also helps you transcend barriers. Those shy will probably work great as costume designers or camera operators. You can also record soundtrack to the film. And if you struggle with concentration, with focus as an actor, we can revise and retake different scenes or edit them in the post-production process. Also important is a sense of agency, a sense of knowing that you produce something that will be seen by others, and also gives you an opportunity to relay your own story to those others. And last but not least, a presence in culture is another cornerstone of this form of therapy. At the festival, we don't show these individuals with disabilities through the lens of disability, but through the lens of artistic work. Fun fact, the majority of films are not about disability per se. They are stories of friendship, emotions, relations, a struggle between good and evil. They are genre films such as fantasy or science fiction entries. So the number of themes and genres is basically limitless. And when it comes to classical film therapy, what should be incorporated first and foremost is a dialogue, post-presentation discussion, which often features the participation of filmmakers as well as persons who are first exposed to the very topic of disability and individuals with disabilities. So it offers a safe platform for building empathy, a sense of understanding, and a sense of identity. The festival is also very strong when it comes to integration, including its grand finale in the form of a gala that features all nominated filmmakers from around the country. What I find the most delightful in this component is the fact that these artistic collectives often take a great trek from across the country, and the only thing standing in their way is limited finances. And pecuniary constraints are a thing because the festival does not reimburse the costs of travel. Mostly, however, the artists do make it to the festival because they are very driven and motivated to be there in person. We also strive to render the festival a prestigious event and to offer a safe space for emotional expression. and a platform for networking for artists who can talk about their productions and experience exchange their experiences. Also, the post-presentation discussions with filmmakers, as well as debates featuring persons with disabilities, moderated by Ms. Nowacka, who is also in the room today, as well as accessible workshops and workshops on accessibility for students without disabilities who learn how to communicate and mingle with persons with disabilities. The festival would not be possible without our partners, including the Norwid Culture Center, that is the official co-organizer of the festival, or the EndMind agency, which supports us financially and caters to the integration of agency's staff and the participants of our festivals, including through fine arts workshops as well as integration meetings. And then there are we as the Foundation for Education and Art. The festival also features accompanying events, a whole host of them, including the staple in our program, My Hero, a fine arts competition, and a great source of inspiration for the graphic designers of the EndMind agency, who used the competition entries to create a professional ad. And then we had the Dreamers project, a fashion show inspired by a film featuring Bernadetta Rożanowska, a professional costume designer, who designed the different costumes with the finishing touches added by the participants, who also acted as the models on the catwalk during the fashion show. And this year we will have the second edition of My Superhero in 2026, but this time those inspired will be professional comic book artists who will use the feedback and input from our participants to create professional comic books. The festival also strives to be as professional as it gets and to do its best to collaborate with the Polish filmmaking industry. Every year we see established filmmakers, Grzegorz Zaryczny, Katarzyna Figura, Błażej and Jan Peszek, Ula Grabowska and Andrzej Sołtysik are the likes of many who are featured as festival guests. And I recall when I was getting one of the guests back home, he told me that he participated in a number of festivals of all kinds in Poland. He usually would leave them dead, beat and tired, and he needed to take a break. But our film festival, he noticed, was the first of its kind, which he left recharged with brand new energy that he had never experienced before. Those guests mostly feature in the festival as part of our jury that assesses the competition entries, and they all stated that the participation in the festival is an important event on their calendar. As a foundation, we also organize professional filmmaker workshops for those who work with disabilities, including screenwriting, animation, camera operation workshops that are organized not only during the festival but also well ahead of the festival, a month or two ahead of the actual festival date. And then the foundation also sponsors an award which is presented to a given artistic collective in the form of 2 or 1 professional shooting days, and they create a true professional film featuring a small cast, which also encourages those creators to professionalize their filmmaking efforts as part of their respective foundations, groups, collectives and associations. Supremely important to our festival is the graceful patronage extended to us by the Polish Film Institute, whose presence validates artists with disabilities. And to sum up, the festival is a venue for self-expression and for narrating your own world, especially to those whose voice and culture tends to be overlooked. It's a space for great positive energy and also a showcase for not only those filmmaking collectives that are featured as entries, but also a platform for different volunteers, including those from the Special School number 6 in Krakow, as well as many individuals with intellectual disabilities who chip in and contribute generously with their own positive energy. They are incessant in their will to help out, to help organize, and to help make this festival happen. It would all not be possible had it not been for them. This year we'll see the 10th anniversary edition of the festival, to which I'd like to invite you wholeheartedly. The grand finale will take place on May 11th. The submissions can be sent by April the 10th, and the first, and the festival will take place on May the 11th. Make sure to follow our festival website and our Facebook website, and mind you that there is a mailing list sent out to a number of schools with students with disabilities. And to those of you who are first exposed to our festival today, make sure you stick and stay with us and you follow us. Thank you for your attention.
Super, dziękuję bardzo. W sumie nie musisz się zobaczyć.
Thank you so much. You don't need to leave us. Let me stop you. Take your seat. I also ask the other panelists on stage. Gustaw, Bronk, Ania, Magdalena. I do understand there will be questions. We move on to the captions. On your right-hand side, you see Constancia with a mic. Constancia, wave if you want to ask a question in English. You look at Constancia and you wave. You wave. If you want to put your question in Polish, you look at Masha with a microphone and you try to attract her attention. Having said that, do we have questions?
Trzeba wysoko i podnosić rękę.
Raise your hand high so that you can be identified by our mic girls.
Okay, dobra, widzę tutaj pytanie.
I can see a question. Masha, could you come over? Hi, I'm Sonia Szkiba. I create captions for deaf and hard of hearing. My question is as follows. You spoke, Gustav, about colors that help you identify the protagonist of a movie. We are taught that when colors cannot be used for technical reasons, we add names to characters and so on and so forth. However, during training, I hear that when you see somebody in the screen, even when there are a number of people, you'll be able to identify those who speak. I do not need to add any additional information to that. What is your angle on that? Gustav, do you need some additional info if we have a number of people on the screen and it's hard to know who is doing the talking? Well, colors are better, to my mind, because even if we have a number of protagonists and they're in one color, the risk is I can get confused. I have recently had a situation where there were a number of people present, and I was not myself aware of who was doing the talking. It is best to offer colors. Or if you have some technical issues, technical obstacles to giving colors, you can add the name of the protagonist in parentheses. So it's not that when I add too much information, it's TMI is not risky. Yeah, I would say it's important. But again, I insist on colors. I do like colors myself. Sometimes, however, you cannot add them or you cannot identify them. So I'm so glad I could ask this question and get this very informed answer. Raise your hands, ladies and gents. I don't see any questions. Let me ask a question myself to Ania and Mateusz, because, well, you deal with different forms of film education. You work in a school on a daily basis. You work at an event, which is a periodic one. What have you discovered in each other's presentations that was inspiring? Let me start. Listening to Mateusz, we already hit on a number of ideas. What is often missing in our community is simply reaching out. Anya mentioned this in her intervention, that we stick to our bubbles because they are safe and comfy. Kids also prefer bubbles, but once you go out, once you reach out and use others' ideas, well, this is extremely fascinating. We have already jotted down a number of ideas. We do see the benefits of regular school trips to movie theaters. Kids open up to new spaces. They can navigate physical and mental spaces easier. As the festival, looking at the entire forum without barriers and your intervention, together with Darek, we need to offer even more accessibility of the festival. Obviously, we deal with money issues. Money doesn't grow on trees, and you don't have that many sources of funding, financing. We do know that, say, subtitles are not the only thing, or SDH, or these are not the only things that can enrich a movie. We will redouble our efforts to make movies more accessible. Any other questions? I see somebody in the front row. Anya, we'll get back to you. Hi, I'm Anya Karon. A question to Gustav. You mentioned that you attend a school with a regular school with out of the ordinary accessibility. What is it that are the main obstacles for you in this school, and what are some positive developments? I attend a regular school. I'm the only student. I'm the only deaf student. I have no negative emotions. The kids themselves are very open to me. I have Polish Sign Language interpreters. If they need to use the restroom, my classmates are very forthcoming, and we have different ways of communicating. They are very open to me, and I don't feel any obstacles. I don't feel any barriers. Do your classmates learn Polish Sign Language? Were they motivated by your presence to learn the language? Right. We have classes, the Polish Sign Language classes. These are extracurricular activities. We have a teacher, and the kids themselves try to use some phrases like "Hi, how are you? How's it hanging?" We had Anya. Okay, it was you then. Sorry. Hi, I'm Anya as well, and I represent a foundation. Thank you so much for all interventions. Each and every one of them was unique, extremely informative. I appreciate your sharing your experience. I have a question to Gustav. You mentioned your pet dream of becoming an actor. Have you already taken some effort to this effect? Do you see that you can feasibly do it in Poland? I know of only one blind actress, who's employed by a Krakow-based theater. But I understand this is something you would love to be doing. Not all deaf people are so brave. Where do you see yourself as an actor? I'm in my 8th grade now. I'm in my final grade of grade school. Let's see what my high school brings. So I don't have the answer, but I do hope for the best. Okay, listen up. Our time is up. Thank you. Thanks to all the panelists, and thanks to all the participants. If you want to grab any of them, you can do it outside of this room. We'll resume at 11:30 in 20 minutes from now. Thank you.